Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of the Yorkshire Power Up Tour Domestique stage. This is stage number 2. I'm Nathan Garrett. I'm going to be your host here at Zwift Community Live. We're going to be doing 2 laps of the reverse UCI Harrogate course out there today. It's going to be a very hilly course and an interesting course. We haven't broadcasted this race course yet, but I've definitely taken a look at it. And there is some very, very sharp uphill gradients on this course. Now, if you don't know what the Yorkshire Power Up Tour is, real quick little update on what's going on with this tour. It's a 6-part event series using all the routes in Yorkshire. Each race will focus, or race/ride, will focus on different cycling specialties with corresponding power-ups set exclusively for each stage. The different power-up types will change the way you look at the course and ride it. So what stage is going to suit your strength? Well, today the drafting power-ups are on, as well as the breakaway burrito. So being able to draft on somebody by using that drafting power-up to increase the benefit you get from the draft. So it's a 30-second power-up. You use it and your drafting ability increases. Essentially, you get more speed for less wattage by sitting on somebody while using the drafted power. The breakaway to burrito, nobody can draft on you. So when you get that burrito, give it an attack. So that's what's happening out here today. We do have an A and a B race out there today. We have 298 racers, it looks like, jumped into the pens here for the men's side of things. That's the A category that was out there today. For the women's side of things, it does look like we have about 19 racers jumping into the pack here, I believe, for the women's side of things. So we do have both of the categories will be covered out here. And so we'll be trying to follow along with all of the action in both of them. We are going to treat it a little bit more like a race day, though, that's for sure. So as they do clip in and start to take off out here, we do see the start there of the entire of the categories. They can see all of the you can see all the racers out there all together. We do hear a whole lot of power-ups now being blasted, as you can see as well. Let's go ahead and jump right on in, though, to what's happening out here. I'm looking at D Rook here from the BZR team here, sitting on 186th place. We ended up with 325 riders before the start of this race. So this is a very popular tour out here today. Now, if you did not know, we will also be covering today the Fusion ECT race number 8. We're out on the London course for that, for the after party, Keith Hill after party. So that is going to be a climbers course out there today. So make sure to tune in for that race immediately following the Power Up Tour today. We've got just enough time to set up again for our production. So, but it's going to be interesting to see. We have not watched this broadcast yet as a race, have not commentated on this specific course yet as a race as we do move forward here. And, I think it's going to be a course definitely to be using those breakaway burritos as well as the drafting power-ups. But I think there's also a reality here of how incredibly difficult the climbs are going to be, especially the climb heading over the top of there's on the course profile, you see in the upper right-hand corner here with this mini map, you're not going to be able to see it too well, but as they do climb the reverse of the KOM, that's going to be a difficult section out on the course. But I think the real section that is going to put the hurt in the legs is that downhill. It's a downhill section after the immediate left-hand turn that you would take if you're going forward on this course. It gets up to like a 13-14% gradient. The speeds are extremely high in that downhill, and it's so incredibly steep that it's a dangerous place out on course even to let a gap go if you're a part of a group on the downhill. On the uphill, because of how incredibly high those speeds are, I think on the downhill, on the uphill section, it is going to be all about the watts per kilogram there. So I'll be watching out for that. Again, it's going to be a short race, I think, out here today. We're looking at probably around, I would want to say a 40, well, maybe not too short, 40, 35 to 40 minute race at the front end of this with the A's in the A category, as I believe we're looking at about 20-minute laps or so. So let's keep moving forward. I did see Adrian Timison here. We may not have many of the big hitters. I do know that because the Fusion ECT race is heating up with that series, and a lot of riders really looking for some points as we're getting into the last 3 races out there. So I do know some riders that are back, not doing some of the broadcast race because specifically they're looking to make sure that they can grab as many points as they possibly can in their series for Fusion ECT, and that's definitely been quite the competition to watch in all the categories, so make sure to check that out next. Now, is this a race? Is it a ride? 327 riders. Some people are treating it as a race. Some people treating it as a ride. Zwift has specifically said this is not necessarily a race. It's now it is going to have results at the end, and there are people all lined up with a finish line. So people a lot of times will treat that as a race, but it's not officially a race. We also had some good questions yesterday. Will the tour be followed up on each day with accumulated points? And no, not this time around, but it's definitely some feedback. And if you do ever want to give feedback on cool features that you do want in Zwift, Zwift does have forums. And if you didn't know that, head on over to Zwift.com, and there is a link for the forums, I believe, at the bottom of their website. So otherwise, just search forums Zwift over on Google. You'll be able to find it very easily. You just log in with your Zwift account, so it actually tracks you as a rider as well. So it's another place where they can see, oh, this is a user. This is somebody who actually subscribes to our platform and is giving us feedback in our space that we monitor and watch. So if you ever do have feedback about things like this, feature requests, stuff like that, throw it over there. And I do know they do read those intently. And it's definitely the place that you want to give feedback. Facebook, social medias, places like that, they're watched a little bit, but you're mainly getting, I think, the marketing team there rather than getting the dev teams or the people who are watching those things for any kind of changes. We did get an arrow power up. Interesting. I wonder if that was saved up and brought into the pens with him. Hopefully, we will start seeing the breakaway burritos as well as the drafting power-ups. As yesterday, we saw a couple of power-ups sneak in there that we were not expecting. It was supposed to be only arrows yesterday, so I'm hoping that bug is not out there today. Let's go ahead and see what's going on with chat. Guys, if you've never jumped into a broadcast with us before, we love to interact with all of the viewers as things calm down out there, or we need a couple of seconds to chat with you guys, and there's no action in the races. It does seem a little bit calmer at this point. The KOM is about to heat up here real quick, but what's up, everybody? Coming from Harry, and I'm always wondering if I get this name right in here, but it's Zianskis, Harry Zianskis, the Godspeed. PH, it helps the time go by. We're hearing here from Harry. Good to see you there. Mr. Steely Dan, I would get dropped so easy there. Lightweight boy is going to be flying out the back. And I'd have to say that I think this section of the course that we were talking about with this uphill grind, not on this KOM specifically, although the KOM here, it's interesting, the KOM in the reverse. It's a little bit less gradient, I think. It takes a little bit longer to go down this, and so I think it spreads out that gradient a little bit. As we're looking about 6% gradient here, Diot here now, 6.2 watts per kilogram. He makes his way up the right-hand side of the pack here. Soren Bay there from Fusion jumping into the race. I'm surprised to see that as Bay. I was expecting to be in the Fusion ECT race, but perhaps just jumping in for a doubleheader for some training here. As we do move our way forward, though, it is going to be Bay here leading things out, and this is a former Danish national champion, actually. So Soren Bay, definitely a strong rider, not one that you want to allow to slip away off the front there. Codox is there as well from France. Collins there, U18 rider, looking for Carter to hang on to his wheel. 1 second back, though. The gap is starting to form between the three riders here, and those on the trying to chase things down. Seeing Austin Brake there coming out of Canada. Shout out to Austin Brake. Good to see him jumping into the race as well. And it is going to be Cosiment in there, Carstensen, and then Volier here, it looks like, out of France as well, jumping onto the wheels. Not quite over the top of that KOM, I believe, as they're looking to be within 2 minutes or so. We're seeing Cristino there with the 347 somehow. It looks like maybe snuck in over the top from somewhere. Who knows where, but over the top now. What is the time? And it looks like for the women, we've got no data just yet, but it's going to be a 1:55 from Team Eco here. That's going to be Volier, I believe it is, out of France. On the attack with Codox there. Two Frenchmen here, it looks like, looking to make a breakaway happen. They do have a little bit of a gap here. Bay and Mitja here coming out of Germany, looking to chase that down. Again, this is international fields, just so everybody knows. These are real riders from all over the world, most likely riding from their pain caves at their home. What does the power-up burrito do? Somebody needs to answer that. The power-up burrito is for breaking away. You cannot draft on a rider if you are if they are using the power up or using that power up, the breakaway burrito. They make it so there is no draft on that rider. It's essentially like putting everybody in the gutter and in a crit type situation here. Carter here from the BRT team trying to chase things down. 3 seconds. Now this 3 seconds is dangerous here on a negative 8% gradient if they do not kick here. And Auden Troft brought in there, let him know that it adds 10 kilograms to your rider, which is not actually what it does. So a little bit of trolling going on, or a little tactical information there, telling him don't use that. Troppar here backed off out of Finley here. Looks like Dan had him as well here out of the Netherlands, trying to be on the chase. A lot of no man's land here going for a few of these riders. They're 163 beats per minute, trying to chase things down over the top of that KOM. Had him as well here, 155. It's going to be Jay DeMio here, vegan from the ZHR here now, as well as Verev's there a little ways back. So Ivan Holler there. This looks like New Zealand and Australia trying to chase things down for an early morning for them. Up toward the front, though, this is the climb that we were talking about. Nope, it's not the climb we were talking about. Not at all. We just had a rider there go way over the pro numbers, so he's going to be removed from the gut coned. Perhaps some sort of a mistake on the trainer's side of things, but sometimes when you do see that cone, if you do see a rider getting coned, that essentially means that their power numbers went way over what should be predictable, or or even outside of World Tour levels. So might have been a little bit of malfunction there in the trainer there. Hope to see, I believe it was Caldox back in the racing though sometime soon after that gets figured out. But Verlier here, 6.9 watts per kilogram toward the front. 330 watts here coming from Robertson from the BRT team. Midshade now hanging on at 4.3. Awesome break there, sitting in. And we do have a breakaway situation here with Kayland here closing things down from the KRT team. I know Kayland's been racing Fusion ECT, so I believe he's going to be going back-to-back here for the racing today. But it's a 13-second gap back to Dolby. 166 beats per minute right now. And Vandy Wout from the pack thinks it actually adds 10 kilograms to the rider, perhaps. We'll have to wait and see. Somebody needs to message him. Open up your Zwift companion app and let him know that that's not what the breakaway burrito does at all, and that he needs to use it to try and break away, and that it does not actually add any weight to your rider. Looks like the solid little break, though, here happened for Team Eco here out of France. Now 223 watts, though. He's got 3 seconds. Looks like he's backing off a little bit, as perhaps he's not super interested in trying to hang on to this. Negative 3% gradient, though. Downhill, this group should get an advantage to chase him down. But, yesterday I gave this a try a few times, and seeing them that close, it can be very deep motivated. And with what is in front of him in just a moment here, as soon as they hit this, the bottom of this kind of false flat downhill section, we are going to see some extreme inclines into the 13-14%, and that is going to be the real attack spots. This is 2 laps. We're about halfway through the first lap out here as we finish up 2 laps today. It's going to be 2 laps today. UCI Harrogate Reverse out on the power-up stage number 2, the Domestique stage here. Breakaway burritos and drafting power-ups over on the day. What's happening amongst the women out here? I am seeing it is going to be Vanderwater here now out of Belgium. Let's go ahead and jump in with another one of our feeds. We'll see if we can find all of the women's positions currently out on course, and it is going to be hitting that 8% gradient after the KOM. It is going to be Vanderwater a little ways up from her. We're going to have to wait and see exactly where things are standing for the rest of the women. So I'm going to use whippower.com for that in the live results here. Give us an idea of how things are going for the B category. It does look it's going to be Pernille Laugesen as well as Liz Rice, and then Christy Might on here for the BRT team. That's your top 3 currently, I believe, in that B category. I'm going to see if I'm missing anybody from the results here, but I believe that's going to be it for the B category at the moment. Maybe I need to log in, though, perhaps over to power.com. That's why it's not giving me all of the B riders, and that's exactly why. So looking through, Scott Frisbee somehow is riding in the B category amongst the women, so Scott Frisbee's jumping in there for the bike surgeon. Currently, I think, leading things out, perhaps? No, let's go ahead and see it. Again, I'm seeing just Pernille Laugesen, Liz Rice, and Christy Maidon. Interesting to see. We'll see if perhaps that does update and gives us a few more riders than just those out there for the B category. But that's all ZwiftPower.com is currently giving me. Moving forward, though, there is Liz Rice for the Revo team. Hammering solid here. 159 beats per minute, 158 beats, and it looks like overall 197th place. So solid effort from her so far. And keep on moving forward, and it's going to be Emma Wood here coming out of Australia. 177th place here. This is your perhaps first place overall amongst the women in that B category. If we keep on moving forward, we may be able to find a few others, but if not, we'll go back to my avatar and it'll help us find the rest of those Bs. But it does look like it's going to be B Victoria KLOD here, actually, sitting at 121st place right now. I believe Pernell Laugesen, though, is in first place for the DBR team there, coming out of Denmark. 32nd place overall, actually. So she's hanging on tough here with the front end of the races. So I'm going to jump back in with the men, though, as they did just come over the top of that climb we were speaking about. They did hit those 13% gradients or so. It did break things apart a little bit. Kaylin just trying to hang on. 4.8 watts per kilogram, trying to find a wheel here. As you can see, it's a 2-second gap up to him. It does look like one of the riders, the French riders here, 160 beats per minute, finds himself off the back here on the Z power. So see if he can jump back onto this group here, spinning to win perhaps. 88 RPMs moving forward. Mitcha here now leading things out, 453, as they do hit, again, a little bit of a uphill grind now into a 0% gradient. There will be one more little kick and then downhill into the finish line. It's going to be the lap banner actually for this lap as they head into that one. Now, again, everybody, missed the start a bit, so cruising in the pack. Tricks, good to hear that you are in the race out here today. Didn't know that you were jumping in. Good to see you there, CS Tricks. And we're going to have to see, is Mr. Casey Shum streaming? Is one of the questions as well. It does look like Casey's streaming. If you guys haven't checked out Casey, definitely head on over there and say hello. Let's go ahead and throw a quick little link over here for everybody. If you haven't checked out Casey Shum ever before, he's one of the bigger Zwift streamers over at twitch.tv. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a link real quick here for everybody into the broadcast, because that's the place, we definitely like to promote all of our streamers that are out there, putting the effort in and letting people know what it is to Zwift, as well as what it looks like to have that first-person point of view. We actually used to have a feature on Zwift Community Live where it would be Racer's point of view, and that was always pretty cool. Casey was one of our riders that would do a rider's or racer's point of view to take a look at what it's like to do that. Now, they went ahead and started a lot of their own channels, which is something that we definitely like to encourage if you do want to show off what it is to race from your point of view, ride from your point of view. A lot of times streaming of your rides and races is a huge motivation, because when you do get viewers, it does encourage you to complete exactly. You have that witness of what you're doing. And when I would show up for my 3x20s, I've been streaming Zwift from the get-go, from 2015, and that first 6 months, it wasn't race broadcasts at all. It was just me and my Zwift experience. Showing up for 3x20s, they had to get done when people were watching. So, it was, or racing, it's that much more pressure because people are watching. And, of course, that's part of the reason why people tune in for these broadcasts. Today, just a fun broadcast. Hanging out with the Domestique ride/race out here today. No big pressure or anything, just making sure we're showing off what's happening in the community and highlighting a lot of the riders that are showing up and putting the work in. But again, even having this out here, I think people feel that extra witness of their effort and want to give the best that they possibly can for the show that we're all putting on here today in the ride as well as in the broadcast here. So Fusion, it looks like there with Soren Bay able to hang on as he moves up on the left-hand side of the pack there, as you can see. Just looking to grab under wheel, it looks like there. It looks like Hutstrasser here with the Z-Power is going to auto bus on the front just a little bit. Mitch there from the RTC Germany here with Ossenbrecht there sitting at a 1.6, looking to just grab a wheel. It looks like Villiers was off the front for a little while, but it looks like it is going to be shut down. Collins there, 2.8 watts per kilogram on the back. A little bit of gap open up. He shut that right on down, so it looks like everybody looking to start holding hands and reserve that energy for the next time around. Now, as they do get into this little 3% negative gradient at 59 kilometers per hour, you did see him getting into a super tuck. Now, if you do not know what the super tuck is, when your rider tucks into the bike, like you see a lot of times in real life when people are trying to get that extra extra speed from not hitting the headwind. Well, in the game, if you do have a negative 3% gradient or more at 33, I believe it is, miles per hour or higher, you do get into a super tuck, which is a free aero power up. Essentially, it treats it like an aero power up. So if you go ahead and one tactic you can employ if you are hurting pretty bad out on Zwift and you need a little bit of a reprieve, you can try and use that super tuck. But I've tried using it a couple times where I thought perhaps we were on a big, the gradient was going to be what I thought it was. Like more than 3% for a certain amount of time. I thought perhaps I was over the right speed, and nope. And so it's not completely like in real life, because in real life, a lot of times you're going to be like, okay, where I just need to stop pedaling here, and I'm going to sit in at a negative whatever gradient it is on a downhill, and we're not going fast enough at that point. And I found myself off the back really quickly. So you got to be careful with that, that's for sure. About 107 back, it's going to be Robertson here now from the BRT in No Man's Land. This is going to be a solo TT for this rider for quite some time. It looks like we're going to be finishing up this course in 20 minutes for each lap or so with the front runners here. Hodges here from the KRT team, maybe saving things for what is going on with James Hodges? Hammering away on a TT bike. Was this a mistake? Out here, Dolby here, he's just 4.6 here. He's going to have to be, this is an all-out effort most likely from Hodges for the duration of the race. Is Hodges going to be doing Fusion ECT after this? Is he looking to just completely demolish his leg and drain the tank prior to the Fusion ECT race? Perhaps KRT not showing up for Fusion ECT number 8 today, but we are going to have the Keith Hill after party, so it's going to be a difficult race out there. Good to see Hodges, though, jumping in again. Back to the front, though, it is going to be Hostrasser here out of France going to autobus this, so it's going to be interesting to see. No draft on that we're hearing from Dolby here, so a little bit of chatter here. I'm going easy now coming from Hassenbrink, perhaps, so perhaps some of these riders saving up for the next race on the day. Mitchell now heading to the front here in that 5.6 now, 1:65 beats per minute. As they take another turn here around to the right now, there will be a UCI banner here coming up in just a little bit as they're looking to finish up this lap. It'll be one more lap, 1933 in so far on the day. Let's see if there's any more chatter coming on through here over at Twitch or YouTube. Mr. Steely Dan, good to see you, Mr. Steely Dan, as well as 2 minutes. BLE for light. That I'm not sure exactly what Tangvik is saying here, because I believe this is like a different language. I'm not exactly sure, but good to see Oyvind here. Bertelsen coming on in, but I cannot read all of the chat when it comes in and it's not English. Race to Fusion race last week. The course is like a constant grind. Always keep pushing on those pedals. We're hearing from Gert Loos here, and I definitely have to agree with that. It's definitely one of the most difficult courses that I've seen out on Zwift, that's for sure here. As we did finish up one lap already, we started lap number 2. It took them less than 20 minutes, actually, to finish up the lap out here, as well as a go to the BZR team here. They've been showing up in force recently, so good to see BZR out there represented here. As we hit this little 7% uphill gradient, we're going to start the climbs again here. Mitcha here on the attack. It looks like Soren Bay here trying to follow that up. Kalen, and then Voulier now. I believe Ostenbrecht was going to chill out, and I think he's going backwards at this point, as he did allow the other riders to take the reins here. 15.7 kilometers in now. It looks like we are going to be having about a 28-kilometer race. It's not that long of a course, but at the intensity levels that you have to climb at, definitely a very difficult course here to finish, to finish those Ks quickly here. B Ward now, we're looking from the Revo team, as well as Victoria there from the KLD, I believe that is. I believe that's coming out of Russia. I'm going to have to double check the flags there, but this is the situation for the women's races. We're jumping back in with this. B Ward, Revo we're seeing here, as well as a chase now from Victoria here from the KLD team now. There was one rider We are seeing Casey Shum hanging out amongst the pack. He was saying, looks like he's out in no man's land now. There was one rider, I believe, amongst the women a little ways up from here, and it is going to be, it looks like, Logginson here from the DBR team now hammering away, and a solid result here for her. Now, is she, I believe there's one other, though. Pernille Logginson here, currently sitting, it looks like, in 55th place overall from what I can see here. Hammering away, but according to ZipPower.com, it says that she's currently in 16th place overall, which is interesting to see. We'll see if we can get an update here from ZipPower.com, but this is first place overall, I believe, amongst the women. Then a little ways back, it does look like it's going to be Liz Rice, and then a few others on the chase here. So 14.7K in as they are starting their second lap. We'll give a ride on to Logginson from the DBR team. Moving forward then here, it does look like there is a solid group for her to hang on to here, but 2 seconds back, she's going to have to claw her way back here in order to hang on with this pack, or else she's going to be chased down by Lugum as well as Norden from race 3R. It's going to be Stott Nova, and then as well as Lale and Ogden here, 2 seconds back. So she's got the decision point here. Not sure if her legs are going to make the decision for her at this point, or if she's going to be able to force herself into that pack ahead. Perhaps this rider JV, though, is going to come around and give her a draft here. It looks like she's going to hang on with Unwin and Innovation and be able to make it with this top 50 right now. Solid result here for Logginson here. The chase is on a little ways back, I believe. Let's see if we can find the rest of the women's race. And it is going to be B. Ward. I believe Ward is about, I want to say about a minute back here from the rider she's going to have to chase down. 88th place. She's got a solid group to work with here. Casey Shumman looks like going back, maybe going to give a wheel here. And that's definitely a wheel you want as one of the most experienced racers out on Zwift for Team Experimental. Casey Shumman, as you can see in the riders nearby list on the right-hand side here. Here's Casey, Team Experimental. We'll give him a ride on. 157 beats per minute, and he could give a solid pull here for this group to pull Ward up to the group of Logginson. Then we could have a battle on our hands. We'll keep eyes on how things do develop here, but it looks like Casey not waiting up too much. 7 seconds now between this group and Casey Shum. So we'll see if he does end up playing workhorse to make it an interesting race in the women's situation for first and second place out there today. Back in with the rest of the pack at the front. Again, if you're just tuning in, this is the Power Up, the Yorkshire Power Up Tour. This is the Domestique stage out there today. If you don't know what's going on with the Yorkshire Power Up Tour, well, the Power Up Tour is all about a 6-part event series. It's going on from the 16th of September to the 21st of September. We'll be covering each one of the stages every day around prime time for our broadcasts. And the series is all about using all the routes of Yorkshire. So it's essentially all about checking out what's going on with Yorkshire. What is this course all about? And how it differs and what kind of riders might want to ride different parts of this course. So each race will focus on different cycling specialties with corresponding power-ups set exclusively for each of the races. So as you do see here, Kaylin now using an arrow power-up. So somehow the arrow power-ups, though, did sneak through on the day. Hopefully by tomorrow we do get the climbers stage figured out, as we will have just feather power-ups tomorrow, and that's going to be an interesting course, that's for sure. But we're out on Harrogate Reverse today. 1 lap distance is 13.7 kilometers, and it is an elevation gain of 245 meters on this course out here today. It's Draft, Van, and Breakaway Burrito are supposed to be the only ones we're able to use in the race out here today, but it looks like a few of the power-ups were able to sneak through on the day here. So now, there is a kit to unlock if you do all of the stages, or not all of the stages. If you complete 4 stages to unlock the special Yorkshire Power Up Tour kit, you're going to want this one. Trust us, is what Zwift is saying there. So, as you can see, this is the kit that they are using in the event right now, as we are looking at Tom of Kalen there out of Norway. 0.9 watts per kilogram right now as they head down the KOM. The time to beat here is still 1:55, so it looks like that's not going to be happening as it was set on the first lap. For the women here, it will be Midgley, Finnan, and then Finstra and Mrs. T. Ired there for the Yorkshire Queen of the Mountain situation. But that's the current standings there for the KOM on the day here. It looks like Kaylin with a 1:58, but has been able to make this front group. We do have a front group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 riders. Osenbrecht now letting it go, it looks like, over the top of that KOM. Resting up, perhaps, maybe not a race day, interval day for him, or maybe looking forward to the Fusion ECT. Robertson here on the chase there over the top of the KOM, 179 beats per minute. Hodges now on that TT bike. Dolby now trying to chase it down. Looks good. Hodges looking good, man, here. No draft for this boy. And that's exactly what this TT bike does. If you did not know, in Zwift, TT bikes get no draft. You can draft on a TT bike, but the rider on a TT bike does not get a draft. But this bike travels faster than the rest of the bikes. Well, they're heavier, but in a flat or downhill situation, it has a lower CDA on the avatar, so lower drag on the avatar. So looking forward though here, this is the current situation. And Mitya on the attack again, it looks like, as they had this little 7% uphill grade. This one takes about 30 to 45 seconds here. It's not going to be the main punch, as you do see in the course profile up above here where I am clicking the mini map there. There will be a serious uphill grind in just about 3 minutes now. But on the attack bay here, trying to break things apart at the front end of this A category. Kalen there from the KRT team looking to follow things up. And it looks like it is starting to break things apart a little bit here. Hutstrasser here on the Z-Power, spinning the win, it looks like, trying to get back on terms. 10.7 watts per kilogram coming from him, but there is some suffering, that's for sure. 164 beats per minute. Backs on off as it looks to grab onto Kalen's wheel here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 riders. 6 riders here in the front here. Mikta with a 1 second gap now as he makes his way toward the front. Tries to break this pack apart. Not able to do so as Collins, the under 18 rider out of the UK, grabs onto his wheel. Bay there, 4.3 now, sitting in 4th place now. Kalen just following on the back, it looks like, just looking at what everybody's doing, making sure he's getting that draft. So Kalen definitely the shark looking to strike here as he sits in the back here, waiting to taste a little bit of blood in the water perhaps here. Maybe just hanging on perhaps is what's happened. It looks like Hutstrasser here as well. Iman there, watts per kilogram, it looks like, saying okay. All right, okay, Iman. Good to hear. Ohio to you as well. And Ostenbreck here now, 102. 4.3 looks like steady ride for him as Hodges looks to chase him down. Hodges will be a freight train for him if he does make the catch. Almost able to see, I think, the rider in the distance here as we get the first-person perspective here from James Hodges. Robinson 2.7 back. Not going to be grabbing on to Hodges. He gave the attempt, but at 174, it looks like this is full-on nuclear at this point. Explosion in the legs of Robertson as he just starts to spin lightly, waiting for D. Carter from BRT, perhaps, as there are 2 teammates here looking to make the chase. Hodges, 20 seconds up. If he catches Osenbrecht, they're going to be able to stay away, I believe, as Hodges is on a mission. Steady cadence there coming from that rider. And it's kind of cool, actually, in game, how you can almost see the steady rhythm of RPMs. Somebody who's in TT mode, you know, if you've ever ridden a TT, if you've ever been in a situation where you get into that rhythm to just have what you just have to hold steady for 30 to 40 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour straight. You definitely see that in Hodges' cadence here, and even in his avatar a little bit. Kind of cool to see. You can almost picture the kind of rhythm that he's in right now in his pain cave in order to hang on to this steady wattage and speed for the duration of the race. Back at the front here, they are about to hit this climb. There's a little bit uphill here, and then a downhill, and then right back into a sharp uphill grade. And you can see very cool scenery, actually, as you do see it does come around these little bends and S-turns here, as we do see the cliff sides as they go by here. And now we are going to get into the real gradients on the day here. Trying to find position. Collins now up another saddle. Mitchell here, 20% gradient there for a moment now. 10 watts per kilogram. Mitchell now we're seeing toward the front now. Mitchell here, 14 watts per kilogram, trying to make the break happen. This is where you can get the distance because of those watts per kilogram on these uphill sections. 12% gradient for quite a long time here, trying to hang on. Soren Bay going toward the wheel there of Collins, but on the front, Voulier now. It looks like Kalen trying to hang on, suffering now. Hotstrasser just trying to find a wheel. Looks like, can Kalen get back to the wheel? 14% gradient. Voulier's walking away with these orange numbers now, and this is where the punchers are rewarded. Collins now trying to get back on turns. Mitchin now 1 second back here. Now the gap is starting to form. Going to have to look for that wheel. These little gaps on these sharp gradients definitely can do some damage. as you come over the top, and those downhills, they turn into 10, 15 seconds very quickly. Holtstrasser there maybe forgetting that it's a race and not a trials competition as he goes back and forth off of the back of the race here. And I believe his trainer, as well as his A&T Plus connection there, thinks it's a trials competition. It looks like he's going to do some handstands, some bike stands, some wheelies, and going to turn around a little bit here. But that's all right as Mitch just starts to put the attack on again as we got 4 off the front now. Kalen's going to be hanging out with, it looks like, no, Hartstrasser, I believe, completely has lost connection there. So it's going to be Kalen here off the back and just going to be waiting for Austin Brock and Hodges. That's going to be a 3-man team, trying to make their way to the line together here. It looks like 157 here from Hartstrasser out of France on the Z-Power, doing his trials competition all by himself. All right, looking through here, and it looks like, oof, this part is tough, Chris is saying. Chrissa, good to see Chrissa Min hanging out in the broadcast over on Twitch. And Martin Tucker saying, pretty sure it's just a glitch on Hodges' bike. It happens. What are we talking about here, Martin Tucker? Please explain. Not exactly sure. Love you, though, Hodges, as we look through. Something wrong with ZP Live for this ride. No idea why. I thought there was something going on, Hodges. Thank you for letting us know. I wasn't sure what was going on with the results for the women out there. So thanks a lot, though. I appreciate the update. I was wondering what's going on. Martin Tucker says the reverse climb Pot Hill is a proper killer and splits the pack. And that's what we just looked at there, Martin Tucker. Definitely one of the toughest places out on Zwift here. Born, Austin Brink is just letting us know that he's tired on the day. Get some rest there, buddy. Thanks for jumping into the race out here. And always good to see you. When was the last time we have seen the KOM holder win the race, Aaron? That's actually a great stat. And maybe we could start getting some stats like that, actually. You know, what the statistics are on the KOM holder actually winning the race, because I don't think it happens very often. And that speaks a lot, Aaron, actually, to the reality of what it takes to grab that 1 or 2 extra seconds over the top of a KOM when you're amongst a pack of riders of this kind of caliber, and that when you do that, how much of the matches that it actually burns. So, Aaron, great question, and I definitely agree that it's something that would be pretty cool to look into, because I think people might start doing their tactics a little bit differently if they start seeing those kind of stats. Or perhaps, a lot of times the KOM holders think, well, I can't win the race, but I can at least get this. So Austin Burke's letting us know, not fit enough for 2 laps. Understand, I think I'm going to be fit enough for 1, is that the kind of paces that these boys are holding. But we're heading into the final here, just a few K to go. It's going to be, I believe it's about a 27 kilometers in total, so about 2K to go, I believe, maybe 3 to the finish line. Mitcha here, 5-5 here, as they're about to go on a couple more attacks. I think there's one more punch to try and get away. It looks like the German rider wants to try and make that happen, going into those orange numbers here. Collins now going to follow the wheel. The under 18 rider has been extremely attentive to grabbing onto those wheels tactically here. Wunder's here now going, and it looks like the riders here not interested in maybe breaking away. Maybe they're all just following each other. Maybe this is all they actually have as they're hitting into those orange numbers. 9% uphill gradient here as they're going to be going into a downhill in just a moment. They can have enough follow-up here. They could drop off Soren Bay. Collins 7.6 here. Mietzen now 12 watts per kilogram. This may be the breaking point here, but they've got to have the follow-through over the top. Some continuance here is what's going to be needed. But Bay here now following off the back. He's going to have to grab on these wheels now. What's the heart rate at? 5.7 watts per kilogram, 172, grabs a wheel. We see the Trombites chill out there on their lights there just momentarily. Now a follow-up attack coming from Volier now, 167. Minton now backing off as they hit the 0% grade into the downhill. And the question is, who's going to set up right? Because this is going to be a high-speed sprint into the finish line. Leaning out by Mitte here, the German rider. Soren Bay sitting in second now. It's a 3-meter gap to the back, off the back here just a little bit. Collins now 1.5. Everybody starting to hold hands and reserve that energy. Looking to burn a final match in the final meters here. 101 back to Kalen. Not going to be happening here as they're just saving up most likely for Fusion ECT. That does start in. We do have a race here starting in for the Fusion ECT race number 8, just for those of you who are tuning in just now. That's going to be in, I believe we're starting in about 25 minutes. 25 minutes to start of that race. So make sure to be tuning into that after. the stage here for the power up. Now, apologies to everybody that's tuning in looking to get their finish, because we do have back-to-back race broadcasts. We'll only be able to catch the front runners of each of the races actually. But we're definitely here to highlight all of those in the community as best as we possibly can. So Mitja here now, leading things out. Bay looking to grab back onto the wheel there. Collins now 1.8 as he gets into that super tuck, just resting things up, probably shaking those legs out a little bit, looking to get that lactic acid out and have enough to the line. It's going to be a left-hand turn into the finishing straight here in just a moment now. Mitja has a little bit of a gap, and he's actually ramping things up still, just trying to make it difficult perhaps, but this is maybe just a lead-out for some of these riders who are able to go down to that 1.7 watts per kilogram or so. Bay now 5.3 watts per kilogram, as you can see, hammering now, and hammering to grab back onto a wheel. Now sitting in. Breakaway burrito actually here. Who's this coming from? Lots of breakaway burritos looking to not have a draft on them. Mitja here now 20. Woo-wah! Mitja maybe with a little bit of an over, and he actually backs off knowing that something's wrong with the trainer there. And we're going to give it officially, I think, to Bay or whoever else comes across the line in first here. With the drafting power up, though, Collins with a solid kick, but Collins unable, it looks like, to come around the monster who is Soren Bay. What an effort there from all of the riders. Let's go ahead and see if we can take a quick look at the replay here. As Mitja came through with 22, we were like, no, sorry, there's a malfunction at that 1999. He's partying like it's 1999 off the front, but just not going to be happening with the results, I believe, here. Soren Bay able to get a second kick. Collins trying to hang on, but all he had was a draft and power up as it came right to the line there. It looks like it was Bay by just half a wheel, and then Collins to the line. Back in with the women's situation here. I think B Victoria here is just coming over the top of one of the climbs out there. We'll see if we can grab what's going on with Victoria, as I believe she's sitting in second place overall. Still trying to hold off B Ward from the Revo team here. You can see the gap is 2 seconds as they're coming over the top of, I believe this is the second to last climb on the course. Caitlin just coming across the line, it looks like, for 5th place. Hodges and Osenbrook off the back there as well. That is what's going on in the A category right now. Let's go ahead and see what's happening in this this B category. And I do see the mix-up here for sure over on ZwipPower.com. Not sure why it's, as Hodges was saying, something is going on with ZwipPower.com. But I believe this is going to be the finishing order, at least for Laugesen, as I believe she was sitting right around 40th place here, making her way to the line. Good to see her. This is going to be your winner on the day here. With about 20 minutes to the start of the Fusion ECT, we're going to get going here in just a minute. We'll see if we can catch the finish for the lead woman out here today. She's got the KOM and the sprint here, so solid effort here from DBR rider out of Denmark. Hanging on with Svensk here out of Sweden. Statnova here trying to make the chase here. BZR just ahead with Baltin here out of Belgium. 171 beats for 430 watts here coming from Laugesen here. And solid effort here coming from this rider here. 5.9 watts per kilogram on this climb. Killing it right now, 7% grade, looking to drop off. It looks like Svensk, who she was working with. Balkman from the BCR team now hammering away, though, it looks like. And Laugesen here, 173, 310 watts. This girl is absolutely flying here, and huge kudos to her. Daffyd Williams here with a seems legit. I love it, Daffyd. And let's go ahead and take a look a little bit here, a little bit look before we do sign off. But loving the chatter coming on through here. And Dave Riley, good to see you. James Hodges saying he's on a TT bike here. Carissa Min with the whoa, most likely about the 22. Partying like it's 1999. Once in a while we do see that here. Go on with your 22 watts per kilogram racing Mike is seeing, as well as Daffyd Williams with the seems legit. But a little bit, it looked like of a little bit of a malfunction, most likely there. I mean, obviously with the 22 watts per kilogram there in the 1999 stuck there. So obviously not legit, but you know, we're out here for fun. This is a fun ride, everybody. There isn't anything really on the line, and that's what these rides are all about with the Power Up Tour. Now, Fusion ECT, a little bit different situation, and the race organizer will definitely get on any kind of situation like that. So but that's coming up here in 19 minutes. We're trying to get to the finish here of Loganson. Let's cheer on everybody as she's making her way to the line here. And at 41:30 here, 26 kilometers into her race. It's going to be a left-hand turn here in just a moment over toward that finish line. She is being chased down, though, here. It looks like Marvig, 2-second gap back here. So she's going to have to put some work in to try and hold off a few riders here. She is chasing down Tawil here, so she's still got a fun ride on her hands here to try and hold on to some positions now. 3.9 watts become 253, 247 here. And going to have to grab onto this wheel as Marvin comes flying right on by here on this downhill section now. Marvin 3.4 now. Logston looking to grab back on 4.5, 4.6 here. 172. She's definitely suffering up into a threshold situation. Going to be a sprint effort here between these two riders. Loganson 5 meters back, 4 meters back, just able to grab on. Casey Shum out of nowhere. Look at Casey Shum. Like, just kind of like, hey, I'll just sneak into the broadcast again here, looking to sprint it out amongst the riders here. Loganson grabs on for a 1.6 watts per kilogram now. Marvig here, 4.6 on the freight train on the front there, leading things out. Left-hand turn going to be going by the start-finish pens here in just a moment. As she grabs back onto the wheel there on that Trek Madone, I believe, holding on to the wheels of that Tron bike, the green Tron bike from the Swedish team just ahead here. And we're seeing Sayas Tricks letting us know he went from 250th place to 40th place, so he's been hammering along here. 3.1 watts per kilogram with this group behind. Looks like there's going to be a sprint situation here happening between these riders with Casey Shum kicking into 13 watts per kilogram for a moment there and a drafting power-up. There goes Casey Shum flying right on by, but it's all about Loganson and whether or not she's going to finish it up here for first place amongst the women. Casey takes a sprint amongst this group, but Loganson, first place for the women out there today with a little bit of a celebration turnaround. Solid result for her. All right, everybody, I believe that is going to be it for us out here today. Fusion ECT going to be happening in just a few moments out here. And if you haven't checked out what's been going on with the Fusion ECT race, let's go ahead and take a quick look. How did things play out last week for the Fusion ECT race? Real quickly here, let's see if we can grab what was going down. As I believe we've got a few videos here of last week's finish, but let's take a quick look, though, as well at the results as we do wait for our Fusion ECT from last week to load up here. So for today, though, for the Yorkshire Power Up, the Zwift Power results a little bit off, but we did get the replay there, and it was obviously going to be Soren Bay able to just hold off Collins. I'm going to see if I can get the results exactly correct here, but I believe they're just not populating on the day, and it looks like not today. For some reason on this specific, Soren Bay, here we go. It is coming through. So Soren Bay followed up by Matthew Collins. After Matthew Collins, then it was, it looks like Dan Voulier for third place, Tom O'Kalin for fourth, and James Hodges coming through in fifth place amongst the men out there. So that's the A category. No B category finishers just yet. So in the race for Fusion here, here's what happened in the A, B, and C categories. We're going to be live with that in just 15 minutes, but here is what went down last week. Gaito off the front here now with 10 watts per kilogram. BZR. Belgium making it happen. He's got a 1 second gap. That was a huge kick here. Looking to go across. Taisu, though, now getting a little bit of a gap. Bang Anderson now looking to hang on. Hodges shuts it down. Kalman's off the back here. Lurstein, are they going to grab on? But at 185 beats per minute, this is said and done from him. If he does get caught, he's got to hold on to the gap. We're about 1.5K to the finish line. Kalman now on the front, calming things down, it looks like, as it's going to be a kick to the line over this climb. This right-hand turn is a 10% gradient, boys and girls. This is everything you got for about 15 seconds, and then hold on to the finish line here. 4.5 watts per kilogram coming from Calvin. Bang Anderson off the front here, looking to try and hang on to the gap that he had here. Where are the orange numbers? Are they going to be coming here? Hodges looks to go first here. As we look from behind here, Bang Anderson, just nothing left in the tank. The attacks are on here, everybody, and it looks like they're coming fiercely now. Lursveen looking to make it happen. And it looks like it's going to be Lursveen now just trying to hang on to Van Geit's wheel as he continues to have huge watts now. 12 watts coming from Lursveen. It's a very early attack, but you have to. But Hansen now at the last second as it calms down on the gradient, looks to take the speed over the top, but Lursveen looks to close it down. Will it be Lursveen or will it be Hansen? Hansen's got the gap. It looks like it's going to be Berg Hansen. Solid result for Berg Hansen if he can just hold on to the line. Lursveen looking to close it down. Almost Kalman fading, and he got it done. Hansen, Lursveen, Kalman. So that was last week for the results there. Simon Nielsen currently leading out that series. Alexei Kalman and Stian Lursveen, that's your top three currently. And it's 72 points, tied for second, actually. Alexei Kalman and Stian Lursveen. So things definitely heating up in that series. Watch out for Mads Bang Anderson this week. 57 points, currently sitting in fourth place. Anders Jensen there is currently sitting in fifth place with Jesper Adderman there in sixth. Mike Davis from Team Experimental with one win to his name there. Looks like in seventh place. Christian Oftendal, Burke Hansen there, ninth place, and then it's going to be Klaus Nielsen. KRT, Team Experimental, Vikings, all still in there to try and take down Fusion ECT in their series. We're going into race number 8. Don't go anywhere, you guys. If you are watching on Twitch or YouTube, you can hang out on the channel. You'll be able to find us there really easily. ZwiftCommunityLive.com, though, if you are just going to wait for the stream to come back live, that's where you need to go and hang out. We're going to need to stop the broadcast here for a little bit to load up our presets and everything for the Fusion ECT, but as well as to be live over on the Facebook feed. But we'll see you guys in just about 10 minutes for Fusion ECT race number 8. Great job to everybody out there in the Power Up Tour here, stage number 2. And for stage number 2, it does look like we may have some results here, I believe, for the B category, and we do, and it will be Pernille Logson there coming through for first, and that's the only woman that has finished. But we're going to have to go, if you are looking for results for the B and the A category after this, head on over toward ZwiftPower.com. As always, everybody, ride on, and we'll see you in just a few minutes for the Fusion ECT race.